Prostitution is certainly hard work, but it is not a job like any other. I doubt that prostitution is on the curriculum in careers education at Eton, at Cheltenham Ladies College. I doubt your parents sent you here to Oxford expecting you to supplement the cost of your degrees through prostitution. Who is it then that fills the vacancies in prostitution? Who are the candidates that society considers fit for this work? And you need to ask yourselves this question, because if you support this motion, you sell down the river the most marginalised people in the world. You stamp on the choices of the up to 5,000 young people who are exploited in prostitution on our streets tonight, as every night. You silence those Indigenous women in Canada who right now are fighting for an inquiry into the disproportionate numbers of women murdered, missing, and groomed into the sex industry from their communities. You ignore the countless vulnerable children at this very moment, homeless and orphaned by the earthquake in Nepal, who are being targeted by pimps from the brothels and strip clubs of Kathmandu, India, and further afield. You write off the young people, boys and girls here in this country who've spent their childhoods in so-called local authority care, and who are estimated to make up at least 40%, perhaps more than 70% of those in street prostitution. Around the world, the majority of those in prostitution are young, are women, are mothers, are women of colour, are First Nation or Indigenous women, are poor. Women in prostitution face disproportionate levels of rape and sexual violence, homicide risks far higher than the national average. Many go missing, many commit suicide, many die young. Perhaps we should view these as occupational hazards. Perhaps we could introduce some health and safety training. Prostitution is founded on gender inequality, racism, and poverty. This is recognised by the European Women's Lobby, the Coalition Against Trafficking in Women, the End Violence Against Women Coalition, and by the people of Sweden, by the people of Norway, by the people of Iceland, and maybe one day we will catch up. You might like to think of the industry as represented by Billie Piper in Belle de Jour and Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman, but you know that's not the reality for the majority here or around the world, and we cannot continue to hold up this fantasy at their expense. Nor should we continue to tolerate the number of lives lost, damaged and broken, purely for the sake of the minority of men who choose to buy access to people, women and men, in prostitution. Legalising brothels across our country won't change the demographic of those in them, nor will it make them safer. Unfortunately, women are still raped, threatened and abused in legal brothels too, as has been found in New Zealand, Australia and Germany. It is also a fact that where there is a legal sector, there will always be an illegal sector. Think about it. There will always be people that are new to this country, that don't have papers, who have insecure immigration, who are underage, who are trafficked, who are pimped, or who simply cannot afford to pay taxes on their earnings. Legalising brothels then doesn't get rid of what we might call the underground of prostitution. In fact, it expands the whole sector, and this is common business sense. You give a green light to this industry, you make it legal to advertise, to recruit, to buy more premises, you create more vacancies, which will be filled by even more people in prostitution, and you set in stone, you write in law, that while men have a birthright to the sexual access to the bodies of others, the remaining half of the population are born with a price on their heads. This raises the fundamental that we should be talking about, but we'd rather tinker around the edges of this institution than face the deeper issue, which is the issue of male sexual entitlement, which is the issue of demand, no. And I would urge anyone who wants to know the views of these so-called customers, who wants to understand just what base commodification looks like, to look at the Invisible Men project on Tumblr, which exposes customer reviews on a website called Punternet, where men review and rate women in prostitution. Prostitution continues because there is demand for it, and as long as that demand is there, people will continue to be groomed, trafficked and pimped into the sex industry. And there are many drivers, of course, which this industry and its customers exploit. The biggest of these is poverty. Women go into prostitution to make money to survive, to feed their families, to fill a void created by a broken welfare system. But the prostitution industry is not a charity. It's not a food bank. It's not a student loan company. And the answer to poverty and marginalisation in our society is to step up and sort out our welfare system, sort out education, sort out social housing, not to negate our responsibilities and just keep churning out new recruits for one of the largest and most profitable criminal businesses in the world. People in prostitution are entitled to protection and support. They are entitled to these rights as citizens, as human beings, not because of what they do to earn an income. Like anyone else, women in prostitution have a right to support with housing, employment, education, childcare, health needs, welfare benefits, and a right to a police response when they report robbery or violence, including rape.
Point of information.
Sorry, no. Decriminalisation of those in prostitution and a review to wipe the criminal records of all those convicted of charges such as loitering and soliciting would help the situation too, ending the shameful practice of giving fines or ASBOs to people failed by the very state that should have protected them. Now, surely this is not beyond us. And surely we can do this without opening legal brothels across the land, without recruiting you or your children or your sisters or brothers into this trade. Prostitution is not a career. It is not a profession. It is the world's oldest oppression. And it is time we exercised our choice and got on the right side. Because the multi-billion-dollar sex industry is doing fine and well, it does not need your help. So make the people within it count instead, and stand up for the countless people trapped within this industry who would leave in a heartbeat if they could, while we bleat on about liberalism and freedom. If you care about social justice, if you care about human rights, then imagine making that a reality. Imagine a world without prostitution, and reject this motion tonight.